They are running out of money and getting super desperate. In fact, they've actually confirmed this themselves. Look at this.
I kind of think of ads as like a last resort for us for a business model. I would do it if it meant that was the only way to get everybody in the world like access to great services. But if we can find something that doesn't do that, I'd prefer that.
Yeah, so we'll only deploy the adverts when things get, well, pretty bad. Oh dear. But don't worry, because OpenAI have also got another plan, because if you discover anything using their AI tools, well, they want part of that discovery. What the hell? It also looks like Nvidia has decided to train some of its models on stolen data. And I guess that's probably nothing new in the old AI world. And poor Microsoft don't seem to be able to get a win these days because, well, Microsoft 365 went down. I would like to start with this, though, because this is very much my stance on AI. It's almost as if the ridiculous outlay is worth it if these things come to fruition. So listen to Demis here, obviously from Google's DeepMind. Listen to what he says.
And we're trying to do this with AlphaFold and our science work and Isomorphic, our spin-out company, solve all disease, cure diseases, come up with new energy sources. I think as a society, it's clear we'd want that. I think maybe the balance of what the industry is doing is not enough balance towards those types of activities. I think we should have a lot more examples. I know Dario agrees with me of like AlphaFold-like things that help sort of unequivocal good in the world.
I think I can probably speak for most of you guys watching this video. That's probably what you want AI to do, right? We want AI to have an impact in our society. We want new sources of energy. We want fusion power. We want fancy stuff like that. We want to cure cancer. We want to cure disease. I'm British, so I would really like a super duper mega accurate weather prediction model that tells me what the weather's going to be like 2 or 3 weeks out from today, and it's perfectly accurate. I would love that kind of thing. That's what we want. The problem is we're dealing with all this slop right now. And again, like I've said in previous videos, this is affecting us as gamers because the price of all of our hardware is skyrocketing through the roof because we're just seeing it used on absolute trash and generally crappy chatbots that, well, I mean, where are they going? Where are they taking society? Probably not in a positive direction from what we've seen. So I picked this up over on Twitter, and this, again, it beggars belief when you read this kind of stuff. So OpenAI chair Brett Taylor says AI is probably a bubble, expects correction in coming years. I mean, that's a very reassuring thing to say if you're the OpenAI chair. Oh dear. So this is taken from the information, and you can see from this title, this is batshit. OpenAI plans to take a cut of customers' AI-aided discoveries. Think about how crazy that is, especially when you think how these AI models are trained basically on vast quantities of copyrighted information that they've taken off other companies and other people. That if you use any of the models that have been derived from that to make a product or a new drug or something like that, then OpenAI wants a cut of that. That seems crazy, and it seems very desperate. Now, in terms of what's actually in this article, this is a quote that's been taken, and I've found this on the Linus Tech Tips subreddit. Again, there's a link to all this stuff in the video description below. But you can see what this user says the core claim is about. Even as OpenAI begins a Herculean effort to generate billions of dollars in chatbot ad revenue in the coming years, CFO Sarah Fryer is already discussing its next business opportunity, value sharing. Speaking at a panel at Davos moderated by the Information CEO Jessica Lesson, Fryer suggested that in the field of drug discovery, her company could, for instance, take a license to the drug that is discovered using OpenAI's technology. In other words, OpenAI would take profit-sharing stake in the financial upsides of its AI creates for customers. But she didn't elaborate on how OpenAI would help firms discover new drugs. Of course, she wouldn't elaborate on this because what's the first thing you would do if you're a pharmaceutical company is you'd get your own model. You're not going to use an OpenAI model because they're going to take or attempt to take some of your discovery away from you, which... I mean, this is, as someone who's a CFO, to say this kind of thing, it's not very clever, is it? It's terrible. So what about Nvidia? And I guess we kind of keep this theme of the stealing of copyrighted content to train models. So if you come with me and we take a look at this, so we can see over here, we've got this again is alleged, but Nvidia contacted Anna's archive to secure access to millions of pirate books. And the article goes on to say, Nvidia executives allegedly authorized the use of millions of pirated books from Anna's archive to fuel its AI training. In an expanded class action lawsuit that cites internal Nvidia documents, several book authors claim that the trillion-dollar company directly reached out to Anna's archive seeking high-speed access to the shadow library data. So why would they do that? Now, it's kind of simple, right? It's a lot of information that's accessible instantly that they can get hold of. It doesn't matter that it may be illegally collected and it's infringing on copyright. They just want as much data as possible to put into their AI models to train them. And that's the key thing with the AI models. The more data you've got to train them, in theory, the more intelligent and the better they become over time. Now, of course, as time goes on, the training data starts to become, well, more scarce. Where are you going to get this data from if you've already used all of the books that have ever been written ever in the history of mankind? Then things start to become a bit of an issue. There is, of course, things like you can say, look at satellite data where it's new visual data. This is like the kind of theme here would be visual related data from cameras, let's say from, self-driving cars and things like that, or even stupid Meta sunglasses, of which these are definitely not. That kind of data collection can be plugged into AI models. And again, that is definitely going to be used to train them up. It's what's going to be used to train up a lot of the self-driving cars and things like that if they go ahead with AI related models, which I think most of them will in the future. But what I'm trying to say here is Nvidia are taking the shortest path to get as much information as they can, and they don't care what they're doing or who they may harm doing this. It's just about speed. And this again is the issue with the whole copyright debate. They've clearly got the money to license this stuff, but again, in the world they're operating, it's like they can't do that anyway because everybody else undoubtedly is probably stealing all of this information. And again, this is one of the issues why AI itself has a massive negative connotation in the public eye. It's stealing stuff and infringing on copyright en masse. Just watch this, right? Talking of stealing of stuff and whatever. So this guy on Twitter is like, oh yeah, literally showing the future of game development. Hang on a minute. It said create a custom build and they typed in Hogwarts. So have your copyright infringing, I mean, who cares about Harry Potter anyway, but you know what I'm saying? Like have your copyright infringing generation. Where's the art here? There's no art. This is actually terrible. It's like, what? This is the problem with AI. This stuff is terrible. We see this and we're like, what is this shit? Get it off the screen. So talking of terrible, and this is all we seem to talk about when it comes to AI related stuff. YouTube has got a new master plan. Look at this. This is nobody wants this, right? Actually, nobody wants this. So YouTube CEO Neil Mohan says users will soon be able to use its AI to generate shorts using their own likeness. He added that over 1 million channels used YouTube's AI creation tools daily in December. Okay. Nobody wants this. I'm going to straight tell you, like, if you're going to make a short, you sit down and make a short, right? Like this video I've made here, what are you going to tell me? Like, YouTube's just going to condense it and turn it into a short? Or is this, like, what they're saying is it's just going to, you can just it knows my face because there's literally thousands of videos of my face out there. And it's just going to, download them from my channel, give me my own little model, which I can then be like, oh yeah, make me a short which talks about the recent OpenAI or whatever, or the recent High Guard disaster, which might not be a disaster, or something else, and it just does it. That ain't content. That's shit. Okay, this is somewhat tangential to, I guess, Microsoft and its whole AI push, although there is a bit of a link here because you've got to remember Microsoft are going around saying X amount of percentage of code is now done by AI, which might be a problem and might be one of the reasons why you start getting a lot of problems with all of their software. So this happened and it says Microsoft Windows 365 goes down the day after Microsoft celebrates reimagining the PC as a cloud service that streams a cloud PC. So obviously not a very good look there from Microsoft, but it must be said, we have to understand where Microsoft makes its money from. And the crazy reality is they don't give a shit about Windows because it doesn't make them enough money for them to care. Look at this, right? Now, I'm not saying this is a totally accurate graph. You can see it's been taken from the website Visual Capitalist, but it does prove one thing, that most of them, their revenue comes from other services. It does come from the cloud. So their Azure-based cloud stuff and their AI stuff, you can link this all together and you can see this is going to be like 60% of their revenue, kind of around that figure. Windows is only 10%. Gaming is 9%, so Xbox, and we all know what they're doing to that, which is not particularly great. Although I will say the Fable announcement looked really good, and so did Forza Horizon 6, only because it's got my car in a lot of the promotional material. So good job. And then LinkedIn, delete LinkedIn. I tell you what, right? If you want to get some kudos, right, and get some good PR, Microsoft, just delete LinkedIn. It would be an awesome move. Anyway, and then you can see the rest of it, right? So you've got search, and then we've got like dynamic cloud products, devices, whatever, right? Basically, the moral of the story is they don't care about Windows, really. It's not enough for them to worry about. That's why the service quality will degrade, and especially if they're just going to use AI coding assistants to generate a majority of the code. So this baffles me, right? This is Claude. This is the, I guess, the agent Claude uses. Claude, obviously, this is from Anthropic. It's very good at coding and all of that stuff, right? Why haven't Microsoft come up with this? This is what I can't understand. When you look at their AI tools that they've got, and then you look at this is Claude running in Excel, where you can see from the video here, I've kind of need to scroll down a bit, but they're asking it stuff in English, in text, and it's doing it. This means it's almost like you don't need to learn Excel. So this might supercharge people who maybe kind of know what they want, but they can't actually produce it. And maybe Claude now can help them do it. But again, the question is, why aren't Microsoft doing this? This is, I think, one of those examples of they're just so lost, and they're just wasting their time, and who knows what's going to happen. But this actually genuinely does look quite good, dare I say it. Okay, so let's wind this back a little bit, and I want to show you this over on Twitter. This is from Ed Newton Rex, and this is about Anna's archive and what potentially Nvidia might have paid to get access to this. So they go on to say, a few months ago, I was curious to know how much Anna's archive was charging AI developers for access to their massive library of pirated works for training. So I emailed them saying I was interested in buying access, and this is their reply. They are charging $200,000 payable via crypto, of course. You get high-speed access to the full collection. This includes more than 60 million books. This is also the group that recently stole Spotify's entire music catalog, so expect this to be available to high rollers too. This is the collection Nvidia is accused of accessing for training. Training on pirated work is rife in the AI industry. It's been embraced by some of the biggest AI companies in their greed-fueled race to win the AI market. When they claim what they're doing is somehow fair, remember that not only is it theft, which is bad enough, it supports further theft by funding pirates. We desperately need a hard reset in the AI industry. It must turn away from theft and start paying the people whose work it relies on. And then we get a picture of the supposed email. So I think that's like the moral of the story here, right? There's a lot of things going on with AI. We've got copyrighted data, which has been used for a very long time to train models. I think we're starting to go into an era now of it's almost like these companies are, there's a term they use, and I may get this slightly wrong, but they call it the closed loop. And the closed loop is when the AI models can train themselves, yeah? Now, this is obviously very debatable, because if the AI is generating slop and then it trains itself on slop, the feedback loop is going to be terrible, in fact, catastrophically bad. They already hallucinate enough as is right now, but if they were doing that to themselves, it's going to be tragic. So if you did have an AI that could genuinely do that, it would endlessly self-improve. That's one of those critical mass moments of, yes, suddenly now we've got AGI, the artificial general intelligence, and then whoever gets that first, they've won the race. No one cares anymore because they can do whatever they like, right? That's kind of what I think a lot of these companies are chasing. Obviously, what's happening is to get all of this data, they are taking it from anywhere as fast as they can, and they don't care about laws or copyright. Now, this moves us forward into another stage, which I think we're going into right now. It's this race to try and find data that isn't in the models yet. New, fresh data to train them up, to make them more accurate, to make them better. And like I said, this may come from things like satellites. It may come through cameras on self-driving cars, cameras on, glasses or whatever, smart glasses. Anything that's recording data may be used to train the next generation of models, because we think they might end up powering things like robotics and stuff like that. But again, that's going to be a long, long way down the line. Like I said, the moral of the story here is, though, a lot of this stuff is being stolen to train. Now, the problem becomes when you look at the social perception of AI, it's you're stealing stuff or you're regurgitating stuff that humans have made. And that is the problem. Like that stupid game development thing I showed you. That's literally like it just took Hogwarts and put it into a game. And then it's like, oh, great. This is art. No, it ain't. It's terrible. Like I said, it doesn't. Whatever you think about Harry Potter as an IP, it's still stealing what they've done. It's not unique, right? So that's the problem. And this is the issue the AI industry has got. Now, I don't know where we're going to go from here. I think what's happening is you're going to see that these may be some hot take predictions. I think OpenAI is going to struggle. They are going to get $50 billion of additional funding from the Saudi government and from other places in the Middle East. What that entails, who knows, but that's going to keep them going for a while. Then what they're going to try and do is aggressively monetize all the users they've got, which is probably going to force people away from their platform into other AI systems, maybe into the Google system, because in some ways it's free. But obviously, like I said, Google is funded with its own indirect funding from its other businesses, so they can afford to do that. OpenAI looks to me like it's ripe for a collapse unless it can actually genuinely do something with all this AI stuff it's been working on. At the moment, it doesn't look like they are. It looks like they're struggling. And when they start saying things like from the chief financial officer, don't worry, we're going to just, anything you use to generate or invent with our AI models, we're just going to take a cut of that, sounds absolutely tragic. And the fact you've got Sam Altman saying, I'm not going to put ads into ChatGPT because that would be a last resort, and now he's doing it, it's got to sound the alarm bells. All right, guys, thanks for watching the video. Like I said, my interest in this is because it directly impacts me and what is my hobby, that is gaming, where it's causing the cost of all of the gaming related hardware to skyrocket at the moment, and we're not seeing enough of a return to warrant that. How long is this going to continue? And will companies start going bankrupt like your OpenAIs, which will then maybe start forcing the price of hardware back down again? But it's going to be a rough few years, I think, for us. Anyway, I want you guys to let me know what you think about this in the comments below. It's a very complicated subject, and I feel like this is a debate we could have for a long, long time. And there's going to be more stuff happening because it seems like every day there's some sort of different thing going on in this whole AI world. That's either, wow, that's amazing, like I suppose that Claude XL thing, to, oh my God, this is crazy. Nvidia is stealing loads of bucks. What the hell? All right, guys, like I said, I've been Stylo. So if you did enjoy the video, then do like the video, subscribe to the channel. It helps a lot. And I will catch you lovely lot on the next one. And it looks like Olive's gone to sleep. The video was that exciting.